Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. This video is the first episode of The Road. This is going to be a podcast which will be brought to you by Road to Survival content creators getting together and sharing their thoughts on a topic. It will also be published on various channels, but we will also try and make it series based, so it'll be episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 and so on. In the future we may also expand the people involved in the videos to people within the community based on certain topics, and also hopefully, if possible, we would like to include Scopely in the future, whether it be someone from their community team or certain areas of the dev team, to be able to discuss various parts of the game and also hopefully get some insight from you guys, the viewers, on each topic we cover as well. In the first few episodes, it will be myself and Invisinerd discussing a multitude of topics, and the first edition will be breaking down our feelings on war, what's to come, as well as our hopes for the future. We also have leaks on the War of Champions rewards, so stay tuned for that. So as I said, I am joined by Invisinerd, another content creator here on YouTube.
Hello, sir.
Nice to have you. So this is going to be the first edition of this little podcast, and the first topic we're going to be covering, like I said before, is of course war. So first of all, I want to get from Invisinerd just your general feelings about war itself. Do you enjoy war itself? You know, what do you think about war?
You know, I do enjoy war, and I feel like it's one of the few things left in this game that changes lately. But I know that our group is centered around competing in events, and war seems to be the quintessential faction event right now, especially with announced changes and all that's coming up. So I do like war, but I do understand that it is extremely monotonous for some people and unenjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of in that group, but it's more the fact that I've done it for so long. And for me, just in my mind, especially, I think that the best topic we can touch on initially is the CRW rewards. The fact that they've deteriorated so badly over the last, I would say year and a half, but in the last two wars is the obvious comparison, especially since the update on the forums where they said they're trying to make things better for war. They've got this system they're trying to introduce of the whole qualification method for effectively the new War of Champions, and I guess they're going to make that quite consistent. But we just had an AOW, which is 15 factions, and then a CRW, we've got 16 regions with exactly the same rewards, and that for me is just like such a step back. What was your experience of the last CRW? What sort of motivation did your faction have based on the position you were sitting in?
You know, I know you and I are definitely in two different positions. I think your faction way more competitive and up near the top. Ours, we don't have some of the capabilities as others. So our main motivation is to hit the milestones. Placement, we know with 16 regions is ridiculous for where we are. When the last tournament, when the tournament of champions happened, I saw the rankings from the qualifiers, and where we were was 100th. So when I know that this War of Champions that's coming up is only the top 40 factions, I don't see us making that cut, and we're just kind of preparing for that. But when the rewards, when they were the same, I looked at how many regions are involved. Okay, well, the expectations are set. But in the all-out war for us, we finished second. So, you know, we were all extremely happy with placing at that point. But rewards from placement haven't hit us as hard as maybe it is for you. It may mean more for you since placement is much more important and much more of a part of where you guys land.
Like, I would say AOW rewards are quite nice, personally. I think regardless of where you place, you kind of seem to get the rewards you deserve. I think first place would probably want more. As much as I don't finish in these positions, and I haven't for a very long time, I always like to look at the lower positions. I always want to see what drives motivation of people actually to play the game or continue to play the game. And when I see that, I think it was 51st and below in CRW was getting one crate, and that effectively is fourth place factions for each region. Where's the motivation to continue playing CRW there? And this is your premium event. You know, this is the event that you're trying to get everyone towards playing. This is why you're selling characters and everything. And maybe it's just, I feel that they don't, I keep saying this to myself and on my streams, it doesn't feel like they realize it's 16 regions in a CRW. Like, there used to be 3, 4, it got to 6 and then 8, and now it's 16, and the rewards is pretty much the same. It just seems wrong.
I agree. And as a faction that was faced with possibly falling on the 50 and under side, that it hurts. It's debilitating. It causes people to retire. It causes, literally the leader of my faction was like, I'm done. And he just moved to our backup, more relaxed faction. So yeah, I was looking at that and going, why dedicate so much time to this all encompassing, almost for what felt like a few months, every weekend event for such little rewards? And I agree, it should be, when I think I did the count, was there 32 in the Wave 1A for what's coming up? So that's probably 2 16 region CRWs.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not going to be fun for us, especially. But if it were, I don't know if they do that because of how long it takes to match, or if they're just overcompensating. But I wouldn't mind waiting 10 minutes to face someone that's more my speed than another of the, S-class, whale class folks out there, myself. But I'm with you on, there's way too many regions. I'm with you, like I said, as someone facing that possibly 50th and lower, we were 40 something. And I was happy with that during the last cross-region war. And that is absolutely sad and hard to recruit for.
Yeah, 100%. Like, war for 2 days for one choice crate. That is not like much incentive there, if I'm honest. I'd like to also put that question to the audience. What do you guys think about CRW rewards? Please respond to the polls that will appear in the top right hand corner and write any particular details in the comments. Your comments could feature in upcoming videos. So now we move on to another discussion, and that's going to be 8 versus 8 and 6 versus 6. In the future, only Wave 1A will be getting 8 versus 8. Every other wave will be getting 6 versus 6 CRWs. And obviously this is going to affect a lot of regions. Some people prefer 8 versus 8 over 6 versus 6. I play in 2 regions, and I'd say the one that is much more active has been pushed into 6 versus 6 in Wave 1B, and the one that is much a smaller region is now pushed into Wave 1A, where it's 8 versus 8. And I think if they were switched round in terms of activity, it would be much more beneficial for those regions. So I think the choices for regions that got pushed into 1A don't make too much sense to me. But what are your preferences on 8 versus 8 and 6 versus 6? Which do you prefer?
Well, before this recent announcement, I was pro 6v6. I thought it was easier to fill, things could go faster. Maybe they could even line up a second queue to get another 6v6 match started for that overflow. And then when I saw that the War of Champions was strictly 8v8 in these 32 regions, I did not want to go 6v6. Like, I lead essentially 2 factions, and they've disabled the entire faction transfer as well. So you have to restart your faction if you're going to move. And I just said, we're going to stay put. I think we have the activity for 8v8, and I think it's going to be easier to hit milestones in 8v8 as well. But it's, from the sounds of it, are you happy with their breakdown of moving 8v8, 6v6 to different regions? And different waves? I
wouldn't mind too much if I had if my faction had the choice to actually leave. Like you said earlier before we started the video about the fact that you're in Wave 1 and unfortunately you're there forever. Like, I'm in Wave 1 as well, and there's no possibility to leave. And I've never been given the opportunity after they announced it. Once they announced it, it was like cut. Like, if they announced it now, like they've done with this future breakdown of the waves, and this is like your last chance to get out, that would be okay. I think people would be okay with that in terms of being able to get out right now in this current window, but you can't leave. And I mean, are you thinking about leaving to go to Wave 1B over Wave 1A? Is that what you're thinking?
It was for about 5 minutes. And then I realized 8v8 is where we want to be because we are competitive. And I don't know if War of Champions is in our future, but I know that we want to compete. And I don't feel like taking a step to 6v6, or if I'm even capable of it, is a possibility for us. I don't think any of my team would want to take that step either. And I understand if you're a newer player or you're just enjoying the game and you don't care about like getting the wins and stuff, you've got a lot invested and you just still want to be a part of it. Maybe you'll come back someday. I could understand that move, but like you said, I don't think they've made it so that we can't or shouldn't even. I have an alt in a newer region I think I'm gonna end up paying 2,000 coins to move to my current region so it can eventually be a part of it.
I just say you've got like a filling like account if you ever need extra fill for the 8 versus 8.
Well, yeah, there's that, yeah, and also we have these two factions here. If we are active, I can keep my alt in this other faction as a leader of my backup.
Okay, so you've got like a system faction.
Right, yeah. We have our competitive Herschel's Farm, and then we have Herschel's Ranch, which, like, if you need a weekend off,
cool. That's really cool.
We try to keep it in the family. You know, if you're active, you got something going on, come on over. Let's war. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or let's level up. Let's do this as a faction. But I'm going to bring my other over just to be a part of that. But again, I'm hoping to be in the future a part of 8v8. Yeah.
Of course, it's always good to know what the viewers prefer as well. Do you prefer 6 versus 6 or 8 versus 8? Again, a poll in the top right hand corner, or write your preference in the comments. So next we have the future permanent war wheel, where 4 characters will be available for a limited period of time, and then those characters will be periodically changed, but your tokens will remain permanent. I think it's good for both ends of the scale. People who don't get pulls generally are going to be able to accumulate those tokens over a long time, but they'll get a pull. And then people at the upper end of the scale can decide, hey, I've got every character in this wheel, I don't want any of these characters, I'm going to save it for the next iteration. I think that those two combinations of choice, I think giving people choice is always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I do like that this wheel is permanent and that you can save them if you don't like the selection. How often will it change? What will be in there? I do like that it's permanent. And that it's just this is what you get for this. Everything seems to be moving up, right? I'm using 3 and 4 star characters for food more than I am 2 stars at sometimes, because I have so many of these tokens. So it's almost like a new 5-star recruit wheel, in that we just have these tokens and you get them as a reward, and then this is the new wheel, right?
Yeah.
So it's cool to be able to choose. I think that maybe they have a new S-Class. Do you want the war exclusive S-Class tokens, or do you want, whatever for the war pull? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess there's 2 questions in there. The first one is, who would you want? What would be your like number 1 pick on an ascendable 5-star character to be in the war wheel? You can make this as unrealistic as you want. Probably not one of the most recent promos, but anyone who's been around, probably before S-Class has come out, what character have you got your eyes on?
I've got a Diego, and he has been probably the character that pushed my team recently the most. But as far as Gen 2 goes, I'm trying to think of ones that I may have missed out on.
There definitely needs to be that premium character in there, I would say my top pick, like number 1 pick, is Dr. Stevens for me. But I do probably see it being like a percentage damage character that will have some fall off, because those have got the limited use. Percentage damage characters are going to be massively overshadowed by S-Class characters in 6 months, where there's loads of percentage damage S-Class characters. And I don't know. I could see someone like Ty maybe coming in, but we'll have to wait and see. They did say, and then big air quotes here, that they're going to be meta relevant. But we'll see. As long as there's no Duff character in there, that's what I hate. I hate that when there's a Duff character. Your character that you've either got one of already, because for instance, Cal, actually a pretty decent character, was in League's season store, and then obviously we had last War Wheel somewhere, it was Vincent. That I just like mind-blowing, some of the characters that they put in here sometimes. So hopefully we do get to see some nice characters in the new permanent war wheel. To the viewers, please comment what the first 4 characters you want to see on the permanent war wheel. So there is actually going to be an S-Class exclusive character in war as well. We don't know anything about that at the moment. We can probably touch at that in a later episode. But what do you feel just about there being an exclusive character through just only available through war? Do you think that's a good call? Do you think that's nice? Do you think that's a good addition? What do you think?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the understanding is that you'll get another collectible, which will only be available through war, right?
Yeah, and we have got some of those already, because they were in one of the milestones already, some severed head or something like that.
Right. So you're going to have to go through a bunch of wars before you even get to it. I think it's good. How long has it been since we got an actual character as a reward for a tournament?
For an actual tournament, it wasn't that long ago. You could win one of the tournaments for the collectibles, and you could just hand in those winning collectibles for, I think it was Blue Conrad.
Okay, I guess, yeah, you're right, okay.
Well, in the 5-star area, it used to be all the time.
Right, yeah, I think it's something to work for, which is good, and it's not one of these unbelievable, at least I don't think it should be, one of these unbelievable month-long things where you've got 700 roadmaps to run in a specific amount of time, and, the missions like they've done in the past couple of months with these giant, expansive are they free to play or not, kind of things that you got to go through. At least with this, it's laid out, and if this is going to be this from on forward, like you said, with even falling below 50th in a tournament, at least you'll be able to get something that will eventually turn into, hopefully, something that is, I'm praying, useful.
I just hope it doesn't take too long. I don't want another, what's her name, Tara situation from Faction Assault, where it looked good at face value, but then I personally calculated it to be at least a year, and it took me over a year to get her.
I still don't have her. She's T3.
That is terrible. She's available to get her collectible in the depot now, but who wants her? She's not going to make any sort of impact on your lineup, and that's bad.
I was talking about the items you need to tier her up. I still don't. I have her at tier 3. I still need to get. Yeah, but it's even longer, right? And when they do introduce this War S class, then what do you need to tier them up? Is it regular gear, or are they going to introduce some other?
Yeah, I guess that's something we'll have to wait and see. But what are you, the audience, hoping for when it comes to an exclusive War S class character? How long do you think it will take until we actually get our hands on them? Do you think it's going to be another Tara situation, or do you think this is going to be a bit more achievable? Please write your thoughts in the comments. Okay, so the last topic, of course, is the WoC rewards, War of Champions. And we have got sort of leaked rewards here. I've got them in front of me. So in the last reward slot, we have a gold avatar for first place, a silver avatar for second place. In the second reward slot, we have 2,000 S-Class shards, choice box. We do not know what characters are going to be involved in that just yet, but it will be characters that will most likely have already been released, and that scales down to 800 for 21st to 40. And then the reward section, that's the main reward section, we have a 6-star for first place, a 5-star for second, and a 5-star for third. These will all be an unreleased featured S-Class recruit, and this character, of course, will be an upcoming promo to be able to actually get their hands on that S-Class character. Then 4th to 10th, 11th to 20th, and 21st to 40th all get war tokens scaling from 200 down to 100 in the last slots. It looks exactly the same as the last War of Champions. The first place getting a 6-star character, second place and third place both getting the 5-star version of that same character. The only difference here is those characters are for a S-Class character, so it's basically giving them a sort of jump on the next S-Class by the looks of things. Yeah,
it doesn't say an exclusive. It says a featured, so it could be just whatever the promo is or was, right?
It says unreleased though.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be one that, but it doesn't say like the War exclusive or a War of Champions exclusive character. So
yeah, that would definitely mean that it's going to be an upcoming promo, and they're just getting a head start of actually being able to get them. The thing I don't get about this is that doesn't seem like the greatest of rewards. I mean, it's going to be great in general, but realistically, they're only going to be getting one of the characters that they probably pull for anyway. Because let's be honest, the people who are finishing in top 3 of War of Champions are probably the top 3 spending factions in the game, because they've got to have the strongest teams, they've got the most S-Class characters, and that's absolutely fine. That, War of Champions is heavily geared towards spenders, but those guys are going to pull for those characters regardless. So it just seems like they're getting something they'd probably pay for anyway, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm fairly certain they'd be happy enough to not have to pay for that. But for me, if I was going for these rewards, I prefer a collectible of that character rather than the character itself, if that makes sense. So that then when I did finally pull for that character, which I would if I was someone who was like a mega whale, I'd have the collectible if I got too many of that character in the pulls, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I even see in the reward too, they have shards, like a choice box there. So they're getting the character and the choice box of some S-Class shards along with that. And as I look further down, they're even beyond that. I don't know, depending on what they put in the war wheel, would I want to place 4th if I already have?
Exactly. You make a good point there. It's most likely only going to be Generation 2 characters in the war wheel, though, to be honest. And that S-Class choice box, this is just pure me guessing, because all of this is subject to change. Lots of this could change, but that choice box is probably going to be current characters. So you're looking at Pete, Priya, those sort of characters. 2,000 is nothing to be sniffed at. Let's be honest, like, this could be this new character that just came out, Arav. Someone could be 2k away from getting that character, and that Arav could be part of that choice box, and that's going to be a pretty good pickup for them. I wouldn't be too upset about getting 2,000 of his choice box shards just because he's a really strong character.
Agree, absolutely.
What do you think of the other rewards, particularly the milestones? Got my attention a little bit in terms of scaling to 500,000.
Yeah, and I mean, that is some whale territory, but that's who's fighting it out, I think. And if I remember, you just got the avatar for showing up in the first War of Champions. Is that correct?
I think it was 50K in that as well.
Was it? Okay. And at least they're making you do something there, because beyond that, NG choice box, next generation, what tier 8, tier 9,
That could be tier 8 gear.
New gear, NG gear, yeah.
It'll be gear. I think that's not going to be a character choice box.
I sometimes I wonder why we're bothering with hand crank radios and military watches at this point.
Yeah,
but
especially
that platinum
when it's only one. Like, to get an S class maxed out, you need so many. It's tons.
Right.
You need so many of those items. It's unreal.
Just like back at the CRW, AOW, like we were talking about, just beef up those rewards, since we're all going to need all of everything they're doing.
This is the War of Champions rewards, and these guys have got plenty of S-class characters. They need more than one GPS or canteen. It's a selection as well, one or the other. I don't know. But then look at the 300k, 400k, 500k rewards. They've got platinum mods in every single one, and we're going to touch on this in a future video, the next video, in fact. But platinum mods were talked about being quite accessible, not being premium, and that looks fairly premium to me to be 300k, 400k, 500k.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is just War of Champions, and those platinum mods were talked about being exclusive in the survival road, and all the points have jacked up there, and all the levels are going up another level there as well. But I mean, if it is pretty accessible and these folks are going all out, do you like platinum mods? One platinum mod is a 500k milestone?
Yeah, I mean that's basically for 100k you're getting a platinum mod. I personally hate where there's a reward level that's just not filled. Like, there's not a reward for reward 3. It should just be another canteen GPS choice box, this time 2, then 3, then 4. You know,
right?
If you hit 500k, I mean, as much as these guys have got teams that can hit those sort of numbers, they're going against other teams that are really strong as well. So it is going to be a bit more even matchup for them. But if you're hitting 500k, you should be rewarded for it, right? I mean, me personally, that's a lot of time. Like, forget about anything else. That's so much time investment and money investment as well, because you've obviously paid for your team to get that sort of level and to be in, War of Champions as well. So I don't know, just something seems a little bit amiss in here. I think the other rewards are fine though, in terms of last place in War of Champions gets a permanent war wheel pull. And I think if you remember back to War of Champions first edition, it was similar or the same. And that's pretty much telling us that first place in CRW is probably 100 war tokens as well.
Yeah, I think they are too, but maybe this was, and again, air quotes, finger quotes, leaked so that they can get our reaction and maybe make some changes.
Yeah. And maybe they will. Hopefully they will. So we're about run out of time on this first edition of our podcast, The Road. And as I said in the intro, this is going to include a lot of content creators, hopefully in the future. We want to get everyone involved who's in the content creator team. Do tell me your thoughts on how we presented this. Do you think we could make some changes? We're always looking for feedback just to make things a bit more easier. This is mainly for listening, just as if you're driving around or if you're on the train or something to listen to. The next episode will be on Invisinerd's channel, and we'll be discussing the changes to combat mods, including the introduction of platinum mods, how to get them, so all our thoughts on the combat mod changes. I want to thank you very much for tuning in for this first edition, and as always guys, keep on surviving guys, keep on surviving.